I guess you could say I was a bit of a latecomer to canoeing. It wasn't till I was 30 that I first visited the rugged, windswept eastern shore of Georgian Bay. But after that first trip, I was hooked, and I've been back every year since. In pairs, threes, fours, family groupings, we visited Killarney, the delta of the French River, Franklin Island, and every year we find new and interesting places to go. The Outer Fox Islands, the Old Voyageur Channel, different lakes in Killarney Provincial Park. Every experience seems to hold something new and somehow be different from the last. But I guess like a native Torontonian that's never been to the top of the CN Tower, it didn't occur to us that we were missing out on one of Ontario's finest natural areas. And so when Peter suggested that we try it out, I have to say I guess we jumped at it. We were heading for Temagami. Temagami, the deep water. Over 800,000 hectares of parks and crown land protecting 2,400 kilometers of canoe routes. After a 5-hour drive, we couldn't wait. Our first impressions, however, were a little underwhelming. A cute northern town, typical northern marina, but our first lake, Castles Lake, could have been found anywhere in Muskoka. It was lined with cottages, and the fringes of the lake had obviously been clear-cut at some point. All that was really left was what you would call bush rather than forest, birches and aspens, competing with the motorboat traffic and the odd brave loon that was still hanging around. I don't think it really matched our ideas of what we were looking for. Certainly didn't seem like this legendary northern forest that everyone talked about. But as often was the case, we figured once you got over a few portages, things would change. And in this case, we were right. Blueberry Lake. The name conjures up all kinds of images, including succulent blueberries hanging from the nearest bush, waiting to be picked. I think the whole trip we might have found 2. But it certainly was everything else it was cracked up to be. We'd spent a bit of time trying to find something a little bit off the beaten path, and blueberry certainly fit that bill. It was love at first sight. Once we chose our campsite, we enjoyed the view, raised the flag, set up our version of a wilderness subdivision, ate a little pizza, relaxed, played some Scrabble, visited the local carnivorous plants, and predictably perhaps endured a harmless swim-by from an unexpectedly aquatic local. So if it wasn't the blueberries, what was the attraction at Blueberry Lake? As you can see from this map, the green and yellow areas represent some of the last remaining red and white pine old-growth forests left in Ontario. Why were we at Blueberry? We were there for the old growth. Less than 5% of Ontario's old-growth forests remain. Most of that is found in Temagami. These ancient stands of red and white pine are the last old-growth red and white pine forests found on the planet. Perhaps it's time we began to treat them with a little more respect. The forests around Blueberry Lake have absolutely no legislative protection whatsoever. If you think it's time to change that, maybe you need to get involved. Maybe it's time that we began to save and protect the diamonds of Temagami.